Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a deep dive into Halloween Ends from 2022, the film that marked the closing chapter in one of the most iconic horror sagas in cinema history. This was more than just another sequel. It was marketed as the definitive ending to the battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, a story that had been haunting audiences for over 4 decades. In this video, we are going to explore the film in detail, breaking down every element from its exterior presentation, interior feel, its performance as a horror movie, the safety features metaphorically tied to its narrative, the unique selling points that separated it from previous entries, and even the way its pricing in terms of cinematic value and audience expectations played out before we reach the final conclusion. At the same time, we will walk through the kill count and why each of those moments mattered not only as slasher thrills, but also as storytelling devices that built tension and fear. When we start by looking at the exterior of Halloween Ends, it's important to understand what kind of visual identity this film carried. Unlike the glossy, sometimes overly stylized horror sequels from other franchises, Halloween Ends stuck close to a grounded and gritty exterior style. The cinematography leaned into darker tones, muted colors, and shadow, heavy environments that made Haddonfield feel like a town still scarred from years of trauma. The exterior isn't just about locations, but about the look and texture of the movie. There are streets that seem abandoned, homes that appear worn down, and an overall design that suggests a town living in fear even when the streets are quiet. The exteriors of the film emphasize bleakness, a sense that evil still lingers around every corner. When we see Michael Myers in these environments, standing quietly in the shadows or emerging from the darkness, his presence feels even more threatening because the world around him looks drained of life. This atmosphere is essential to the effectiveness of the kill count because each death doesn't just happen in isolation, it happens in a world already cracked and broken. The interior of the film, by contrast, is simpler and more intimate. We spend time in the personal spaces of the characters, particularly Laurie Strode's home. It's designed not as a flashy horror set but as a lived-in environment where survival and healing have become daily rituals. The interior design reflects resilience. Books, family photos, and hints of a normal life trying to grow back after years of trauma. But even in this warmth, shadows creep in. The interior is not filled with extravagance. Instead, it's short, grounded, and believable, reminding us that horror often finds its way into the most ordinary settings. The performance of the movie is where Halloween Ends becomes the most divisive among fans and critics. Some viewers expected relentless action and non-stop kills, but the filmmakers instead chose to deliver a performance that emphasized character and emotion. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie gives one of her strongest portrayals in the entire franchise, showing a woman who is both traumatized and determined, fragile yet strong. She embodies the performance of a survivor who has carried the weight of her battles with Michael Myers for decades. On the other side, Michael Myers is portrayed with a colder, more monstrous presence than ever. He doesn't need to speak. His performance comes through body language, silence, and brutality. The supporting cast, including Andi Matichak as Allison, also brings emotional grounding, reminding us that these kills are not just numbers but devastating losses in the lives of real characters. The performance aspect is about how the film communicates fear, rage, and closure, not just how many kills are on screen. Now, when we look at safety features in a metaphorical sense, horror movies rarely come with them, but Halloween Ends includes themes of protection and survival that serve as safety features for the characters. Laurie Strode has spent years preparing traps, weapons, and defenses in her home, always thinking about how to keep herself and her family safe from the evil that has tormented them. These safety features are not physical airbags or seatbelts, but psychological and emotional safeguards. They remind us that horror is not only about facing danger but about preparing to overcome it. The film explores safety in the sense of mental health as well, how Laurie writes her memoirs, how she tries to build a future for Allison, and how survival requires both weapons and healing. These thematic safety features give the film emotional depth beyond the gore. The unique selling points of Halloween Ends are what separate it from other horror sequels. First, it dares to be different. While many expected a bloodbath from start to finish, the film balances slasher violence with character-driven drama. It takes risks by focusing on new characters such as Corey, and blending the mythology of Michael Myers with themes of inherited evil and trauma. Another selling point is closure. This was marketed and executed as the final confrontation between Laurie and Michael. Audiences came in knowing this was the end of an era, and the film leaned heavily on that promise. The kills themselves are unique in their brutality. Each one feels personal and serves a narrative function. Unlike some slashers where the kill count is just spectacle, here it ties into the story of how evil corrupts and spreads. The unique selling points also include the way it was shot, with carefully framed visuals, tension, building silence, and sudden bursts of violence that kept audiences on edge. When it comes to price, we aren't just talking about tickets or box office numbers, but about the value delivered compared to expectations. Halloween Ends carried the price of being the final film in a legendary saga. Fans invested not just money but decades of emotional connection into this story, and the film had to pay off that investment. Some felt the price was too high because they expected a more traditional showdown, while others appreciated the bold direction. In terms of literal box office, the film was successful, but the real price to consider is how it closed the chapter for long-time fans. Was it worth it? That depends on whether you value closure, risks, taking storytelling, and emotional performance over straightforward slasher formulas. In conclusion, Halloween Ends is not a flawless film, but it is an ambitious one. It dared to take the franchise in a direction that surprised audiences, sometimes frustrating them but also offering emotional resonance. The kill count is brutal and memorable, Michael Myers remains terrifying, and Laurie Strode receives a powerful send-off. The exterior design of the film is hauntingly bleak, the interior is simple yet meaningful, the performances carry weight, the safety features provide thematic depth, the unique selling points ensure it stands apart from typical slashers, and the price of experiencing it is balanced between expectation and emotional payoff. Halloween Ends is the final word on one of cinema's greatest horror rivalries, and whether you love it or criticize it, it leaves a mark that cannot be ignored. Michael Myers and Laurie Strode have reached their conclusion, and audiences are left with a chilling reminder that evil never truly dies. It just takes new shape.